Howdy guys, in today's Poop Tip Tuesday, we're going to talk about a couple different things. Number one, what does it mean when a vaccine says it's 95% effective? What exactly does that mean? Number two, what is a fecal transplant? Yes, I had a patient come see me for that to wonder, and some people are asking, is this worth it? Do we need to do this? Number three, what are the best prebiotic things that I recommend to take? And number four, how to protect your gut during the holidays. So for those guys who are joining for the first time, my name is Dr. Islam. And yes, I am an actual poop doctor. My passion is to give you tips and tricks to help out with your gut health. Every Tuesday, I go on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube Live to give you topics and issues and questions every week to help out with your gut health. If you haven't already, I need you to do a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, smash that like button. Like, share, and subscribe. Number two, let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay. Gary, it's good seeing you on the live video. And number three, let me know if you have any questions on the live video as well. And if you do not want to give your question live, don't forget you can subscribe to a weekly newsletter. I answer questions on the newsletter. I give you great poop tips. I give you great information so you can help out with your health. So let us go to the first question I got about COVID-19 vaccine and the 95% effective rate. What does this mean? So a lot of people, when they saw this, they asked me, hey, Dr. Islam, does this mean that this vaccine has a 95% chance, if I take this, of not getting COVID-19? That's not exactly what that 95% effective rate means. So this is actually a statistical formulation. And what happened is that we'll use the Pfizer example as the way to explain this. So in the Pfizer study, about 44,000 volunteers volunteered to be in the study. Half of those, roughly about 22,000, got the vaccine, and the other 22,000 didn't get the vaccine. Anyone who got sick from both groups that got tested for COVID-19 and those that got sick with COVID-19 and had a positive test, we checked to see, did those patients actually get the vaccine, and did those patients actually not get the vaccine? Out of all the patients that got COVID-19, out of all those 44,000, roughly about 170 of them actually came back positive for COVID-19. So 170 out of the 44,000. Out of those 170, roughly about 162 did not get the vaccine, whereas only 8 got the vaccine. So just that difference between 8 and 162, between those that got the vaccine and those that didn't get the vaccine, you can see there's a big difference from that. And if you do a couple different calculations in terms of mathematics and stats, this is where you get to what's called the efficacy rate, which is 95%. This is a mathematical term. This does not mean that 95 out of 100 people who get the vaccine will be cured or be protected against COVID-19. But this efficacy rate is much higher than we typically see for other vaccines. So other vaccines that are out there, like the flu vaccine, the efficacy rate can be maybe as low as 70% or 60%, not something like 95%. This is actually great news, and it could be a game changer when it comes to COVID-19. Now, in the future, you may hear of a different term, which is how effective it is, the efficacy of it. Not efficacy, but how effective is this virus? So efficacy is how we can test how a virus does in a stable, controlled clinical trial. So we have people that are in there that are pre-selected, or as much as we can randomly, to get tested for the vaccine. To see how effective it is, we need to see this in the real world. And obviously in the real world, we have different ways that people are, different health conditions, different chronic medical problems as well. And so we actually may see that rate go down and go down and go down. But I will tell you, I'm very encouraged by how high the efficacy rate is for this vaccine, because it's typically higher than other vaccines that we see as well. And this is actually very, very encouraging for me for possible hopes in terms of getting this. Now, obviously, the only way that this is going to work is if people actually get the vaccine, because just because you have a vaccine and it does work doesn't mean that not everyone's going to get it. And the more people that get the vaccine, we can see actually how the data is. And based on that, we can see if we can hopefully prevent the spread of COVID-19. Ms. Garza, it's good seeing you. Thank you for watching on the live video as well. So do you guys have any questions? So that's basically what it comes down to, the COVID-19 and the 95% efficacy rate when it comes to that particular vaccine. All right, question number 2. What is a fecal transplant? So you may have heard about a fecal transplant. It's been around for a long time. In fact, It was around in ancient China in the BC era, but recently it's gotten more and more press, more and more information, and there's a lot more evidence about what actually this does and what can we do and what conditions do we need this for. So a fecal transplant literally is when we put somebody else's stool inside a sick person's colon to change their gut microbiome. And by doing that, we can cure a lot of different illnesses. The biggest thing that we can do is help get rid of a very bad diarrhea infection called C. difficile diarrhea or C. difficile colitis. This is a pretty terrible diarrhea condition that's been found in people who take antibiotics or maybe live in nursing homes or have other chronic medical conditions. Now, basically what happens is that the gut microbiome of your colon is so altered and not working that it makes it more likely to develop this particular bacteria infection inside your colon. And this bacteria infection can manifest as chronic diarrhea. And typically we can use antibiotics to treat this bacteria infection, but it doesn't always work. And you can have repeated episodes of C. diff, you can have repeated episodes of more and more diarrhea and repeated issues from this. And there becomes a point in time when the infection from the bacteria is always going to be in your colon and can't be eradicated by traditional medications that we give. This is where a fecal transplant comes in. So we actually get somebody who's been pre-screened, we put their colon inside you through a colonoscopy, and we literally squirt that stool all throughout the colon to change the gut microbiome. And can you guess how effective this particular treatment is for this particular condition? It is greater than 95% effective. It actually works. It actually has a very good success rate. And so we do a fecal transplant for patients who have really bad C. diff. Now, there are some clinical studies going on about using a fecal transplant for other conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, or other conditions like that. And so currently, the only FDA indication is for C. diff, but in the future, we may see further changes in terms of when we can recommend a fecal transplant. So in case you were wondering, that's exactly what that is. Question number 3 I got today. So, hey, Dr. Islam, what are some great prebiotics to take? So a prebiotic are foods that you can take to help replenish and nourish the natural gut microbiome that you have. You're not adding anything new to that, but all of us have trillions and trillions and trillions of bacteria inside our GI tract. And that bacteria can really cause a lot of conditions to occur, either good or bad. It can make gut issues worse, bloating worse, eczema, autoimmune diseases. And sometimes whenever we can take medicate or food to help replenish the good guys, it can make the good guys come up and decrease the bad guys. And by having the good guys come up, you can really change what is going on from the inside out. And by doing that, we can alleviate a lot of the gut conditions that people have. Now, I am a big proponent of prebiotics, and this is a fantastic way to help improve your gut microbiome without having to take an additional medication or to try something else. The best prebiotics that you can take are plants by far. Plants have a natural fiber in them, and every single plant that's out there in the entire world has their own unique set of probiotics. And so it doesn't matter which one you take, as long as you separate the plants and have a diverse set of plants. This is almost like super grow, a miracle grow for your gut microbiome. But there's certain prebiotics that I recommend that tend to work very good. Number 1 is wheat dextran. Wheat dextran is a very effective prebiotic medication, prebiotic food that I give to my patients or recommend that can help improve their gut microbiome. And sometimes for a lot of my patients, this will resolve their diarrhea. It will resolve their constipation or get them feeling better. Another one's called acacia powder, which is from a tree. And this tree in Africa has been shown to have a very effective and good prebiotic fiber in them. This is also another prebiotic that I recommend for a lot of my patients. Another prebiotic is guar gum, another effective plant-based fiber to help change the gut microbiome, to improve it and get it better. And so if you're looking for a way to get your gut feeling better and to improve your gut microbiome, these are some of the things that I recommend. And I found this whenever I implement this in my patients' lives, they tend to feel a lot better and their gut issues are resolved, and we can potentially get them off their medications that they are on. All right. Question number 4. Now with Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and all the other holidays, New Year's, How can you best protect your gut from all the gut issues that you may be suffering during the holidays? So a lot of people during this time have a lot of problems with heartburn, reflux, diarrhea, constipation. You are eating foods that are not great for you. You may be doing things that you typically don't do. Maybe lounging around the couch, watching football, not getting up and not getting out. What can you do to help out with your gut? So a couple of different things I recommend, and these are just universal recommendations to help improve what is going on. So number one, as much as you can, I know this is hard, try to increase the amount of vegetables in your diet. What I would recommend, instead of going for that big turkey and mashed potatoes at the very beginning, maybe load your plate with a lot of salad and a lot of green first, and then add on the other things secondly. Because the more that you can add in vegetables and fiber, that's going to expand in your stomach, get you feel fuller longer, and you may not cheat as much on the other meals that you typically do. Number two, you got to drink a lot of water. This is the time during the holidays when we tend to not drink a lot of water. We drink maybe Cokes, maybe alcohol, maybe more coffee, things that dehydrate you. And the more dehydrated that you get, the higher chance you're going to have of having gut issues. Number three, it's very common for us to eat and lie down during Thanksgiving or the holidays. Don't do that. Try to wait at least 2 to 3 hours after you eat before you actually lie down, so you have time for that food to digest. You can get things going, help out with your burning, your reflux, your constipation, and or diarrhea as well. Number four, get up and walk around. I know it's the holidays and people want to just relax and not do anything, but the more your colon moves, the more you move, the better it's going to be for your gut issues. And so I would highly recommend for you to get up and move around as much as you can. And number five, if you can, try to incorporate those prebiotic fibers that I recommend, the wheat dextrin, the guar gum, the acacia powder. These are things that can help improve your gut microbiome, get you going, and get you flowing. And I think this will help out if you're having some of the holiday issues when it comes to your gut problems. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching today. I know this is a short video today, but with Thanksgiving coming up, hope you guys have a happy and healthy and safe holidays. I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Thanks and take care, everyone.